Hello, Sun Tribe. I had the most magical, mystical weekend. I'd like to share that with you. It was a beautiful, most perfect day. It was a Friday, and I was meeting Sean Owelu in Malibu. I was learning about his surfboards and the different board selections that he chose, as well as what different boards are supposed to be on the water at different breaks. Wow, that's sick! After our interview, when Sean left, I decided to paddle out and catch a surf, since the tide was rising and the water was getting more smooth shape to it. Had fun in the water, meeting people, talking. Once I got out of the water, I noticed this sister. He was at the showers and they began talking. So of course, I ran up there to talk to both of them. And then the other brother who was in the water, who I didn't even know was in the water at the time, got out the water and we all started talking. To just get up and go, living her life, and pack it up and surf on the road.
Surfing wasn't even the main thing. There's dirt bikes underneath of there.
You're freaking amazing,
like, I just started mountain biking, and that was pretty cool, but really I'm going to sell the mountain bike and get another dirt bike, because mountain biking is hard.
Yeah. Hey. Hello there. Leon Brinkley from Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I'm the best surfer from my address, wearing this shirt from Atlanta, Georgia right now that I know.
There you go. You can always claim that.
Yes. You are. The fly down here and come surfing.
I love it. I do it twice a year at least. I have a passion and a calling to Malibu especially, but California. I'm from LA backwards with the T in the middle of it, but this is the place where I love right here, LA, for sure.
LA backwards with the T. The thruster setup, yeah?
Exactly, right? And it's got that fold end tail. So as you progress this board, you can definitely take this thing off the lip, you know, like you can turn on it, right? And then also you can jump up to this 6'5" marina.
Wait, what you just say?
I'm traumatized. I stepped on a stingray and it changed how I looked at the whole ocean. Like, I didn't know. I had no idea. And here's the thing: is that I had just bought new booties, and they had the hard bottom, like the ones that I.
Don't tell me you had all booties too.
Not as hard as the bottom of this shoe, but like a hard bottom booty, like.
And it went through.
It went. I'm walking out the first time, and like I just catch a little short break wave, and I jump off, and I step on it, and it goes through the side of my foot. Actually, I still have the scar. So it goes through the side of my foot and hits me right here, and I just jump back on my board because I thought I stepped on a crab or something.
Yeah.
So it felt just like a little pinch, and so I jumped back on my board and I was like, oh shit, and I paddled back out to the break. And while I'm sitting there waiting for the next set, I'm like, yo, like something, like my leg feels.
So it does
weird.
have poison in it.
It does. It does, but the way that it got me the first time, it went through. It was just right here. It just like grazed me, so it cut my foot open, but it didn't really get me. And so I was like, okay, this is weird. And I rode another wave in, and when I jumped off of that wave, it went through my toe.
Oh,
it stabbed me. And so with that one, I like jumped back on the board immediately and paddled back out. And I was the first person I got to. I was like, yo, what's in the ocean? Like, what could possibly be in the water? And they were like, oh, like nothing really. And no one said stingray. No one even suggested that there might be stingrays on the bottom. And so I paddle in, like I catch like the smallest wave. I'm like paddling in, like, getting in, and then it's slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I get to the street, to PCH, and I don't know if you've been up to Huntington yet, but it's got the people parked on the side of the road, and then there's like the opening for you to cross the street, and I'm standing, and people are like getting out of their car or whatever, and I'm like standing with my surfboard, and I'm just like, And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, yo, because I gotta wait for the light because it's like active traffic. And I'm like, yo, if I just throw myself in the street, certainly someone will help me.
How come you didn't ask the lifeguard? Why the hell is you leaving the beach in the first place?
Bro, I'm freaking out. This thing hurts so. This is before the lifeguards are out. This is at like 8 o'clock in the morning. This is first thing in the morning. So like, I'm like freaking out. My foot is like on fire, and I haven't really decided that my foot is bleeding yet. I just know that it hurts. I think I got pinched or like something. And so I get out of the water, I get to my van finally, and I pull my boot off, and blood just goes everywhere. And I was like, I gotta call my mom.
Not 911, call mom first.
I was like, I gotta call my mom.
That's right.
And I called my mom, and she was like, Natasha, I think you need to go back to the beach, and I think you need to find an official. You need to find someone at the beach. And so I get back on and I'm like having trouble breathing. I'm like,
right.
Oh, that's some real pain right
Like,
there.
It is. I saw a guy. They had 2 lifeguards. His foot was in that thing, and they was like taking his temperature. They had a thing around him, and they was
taking his pulse.
taking his pulse at the same time, and he was like this. He was doing like this.
I was just like, Mom, I just don't know. I think they're gonna have to cut my foot off. I think I would rather they just cut it off.
That's that pain right there. When
she
you
was
start
like,
talking delirious like that,
Yes.
that's that real pain.
She was
right
like,
there.
Natasha, you just have to go back to the beach and find someone, because I was like, the lifeguards aren't here yet, and I'm just gonna die right here. And I got on my skateboard. I threw my surfboard on top of the van like all willy-nilly, like not even safely. And I grabbed my skateboard and I skated back down to the beach. And I got to there's a little kiosk in front of Duke's. And the man was just going into the kiosk, and I was like, hey, there's something poisonous in the water, and it got my foot, and I need help. And he was like, oh my God, there should be lifeguards at the center tower, and I'll get them to come down here. And I was like, no, where's the center tower? And I skated down to the center tower, which is at like, it's at like Pacific or something.
Skate down there.
It's the war. I like it's the war of it. But I skateboarded down to there, and I'm like banging on the side of the door, and the dude comes flying down the stairs, and he's like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, yo, you gotta get the people out of the water. There's something on the bottom, and I stepped on his foot. And he's like, wait, let me see it. And I like pulled my foot out and out of my boot again, and like I was showing him, and he was like, oh, you got hit with a stingray twice, and you're still standing.
Right.
He's like, we typically pick grown men up off the beach just rolling around.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we have to cut it off? Or like, and he ran back inside and got some hot water, and it was like the water was too hot.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I know they make it really hot.
For a second. And I was just like,
They
no,
make it
and I
really
put my foot
hot.
right in it, and the pain just was like gone.
Oh,
And I
so
was like,
hot water, huh?
I don't even care that it's burning the rest of my foot. Like I probably had 2nd-degree burns on the rest of my foot, but I did not care. It's like it was like and I've broken lots of bones and done lots of weird things to me, and just like that thing, that was different. I didn't go back to Huntington Beach for like 2 months.
I have a friend that got stung there twice. He will never ever go back there again. He will never.
He will
Huntington. No, Venice do too, because 1,000 people last year got stung.
With sand. If it has a sandy bottom.
And it's warm.
What if you dismount the board and you just like fall or something?
Well,
what if I fall on my butt or my back?
You just ask the ocean. You just meditate.
There's a specific band of this depth that they like, because the temperature of the water is right.
Please tell me what that is.
They say that most people don't get stung until they're like chest deep or better. So
what a horrible feeling to feel something like that shooting through your body, you chest deep,
and that's exactly when it happened to me, because I just
caught an epic wave, and then you feel like suddenly
that's
unknown.
exactly what happened. I jumped off of my wave. I twisted off of it. I want to say I went woo, and jumped into the water and went straight down onto a stingray.
See,
but you just
that's how it usually happens when you first get in or you going out.
Yeah, it's typically when you're paddling out or paddling in. Because
my friend, Big Wednesday, I make vlogs about him. He will not ever go to that beach again. I love it. I love that break. But he says he won't ever go back. He's like, that's one break I won't ever go back to again. All my friends been stung though, but I shuffle my feet. And they typically hang out in the whitewash, but what I do is I thank Mother Ocean. I talk to Sea Life. I said thank you for letting me be here, and I shuffle my butt off because literally I see things. I can see people stunned every single.
Shuffle your feet
Every
and
single
jump on your
hour.
board as soon as it's deep enough to paddle.
No, I'm serious. My blood pressure will be high sometime. I might have a damn
Like
heart
always,
attack.
I always paddle out underneath the pier too. That seems to be my go-to because I don't think that they can handle.
You got plenty of time.
I was like, dude,
Wow. Whoa. That's you?
no, that's Jamie O'Brien.
Oh wow.
He's one of the riders for Catch Surf.
Oh wow.
But I got to surf with him in Hawaii.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I just hit him up on Instagram. He was like, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I asked him for a high five, and then ended up going out for a whole day of surfing. Like he hit me up the next day and was like, "Yeah, you should come back." Because I literally just gave him the high five and kept running. Like didn't stop to say anything else. I was just like, "Oh yeah, JD, high five," and he was like, "Oh yeah," and like I just left. Like
Wow.
but yeah, he hit me back and we got to spend a whole day like. On my computer, I'm sure I have like the actual video and stuff, but my phone was acting a true fool at the time, of course. And then that was jumping off of the YMA rock.
Oh my goodness, that was hot.
So
Was it
fun.
like 50 feet?
Oh
It was
damn.
so fun.
Really? How
Yeah.
deep is it? I guess
Oh, yeah, you're
apparently it's very
crazy.
deep.
It was kind of deep. Like I touched the bottom.
Really? Now when she said motocross, that's when I knew she ain't.
That's when we knew. That's at that moment. That's
from when I was
at that very
little, like,
moment. That's when
grew up
we
with
knew
moto. So like the motocross stuff
that she was in a different league.
Man, I can tell you.
Wow.
And my first instinct was to go get some juice.
She got some weird reactions to major a traumatic pain.
I just want everything to be as normal as possible.
I get that though, you know. I kind of get that. And that poor board, I feel so bad. It stays hung up in the garage. Ever since I got introduced to longboarding,
Yes.
I don't even bring that board
Yeah,
on the trips or nothing.
is it the gun style?
Yeah, it's like a gunner. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a 7.6 gunner
what I've
with a
got.
thruster and fun shape. It's
I've got one that's a bat
I
tail.
don't even use it. Oh, you got a back tail?
I got a bat tail 7.6 with a pointy nose.
Yeah.
And it's got it's a quad fin? It's a 5-fin actually. So I
Really?
think I can put it thruster or quad fin. But I left it at my grandparents' house because I just don't like riding fiberglass.
Yep. Sure got him on that way.
So now I got like.
He just sat on it perfectly. I liked it.
Hope you liked that story. Peace and blessings.